Mr. Reddit.
I thought she took me to the restroom to have sex. I was wrong. In college, I met a girl at a house party. We drank and talked. Drank and talked. Drank and talked. Starting kissing. Tongues and all, she asked me to the restroom with her. Of course, I said. She took me by the hand and led me away. I went in first and she shut the door behind her and locked it. I was certain things were about to go to the next level. She said hang on and unzipped her pants. Sat down on the toilet, I thought she had to pee. Then she grunted. I heard a fart. Then a plop, I unlocked the door and ran. Never saw her again.
My husband is a human gas chamber, so, about 3 weeks ago I flew to South Korea for a vacation with friends who live there. My husband didn't want to go and said he'd be fine staying home and watching the house and dog. I trusted him because he's a 40-year-old adult man and assumed he'd be able to feed himself like a sane person despite him possessing the cooking ability of a cactus. I was wrong. I should have dragged him and the dog along with me to another country. What my husband decided to do during his 3 weeks without me was absurd. I would have been happier if he'd cheated on me instead. Because what he did was order nothing but Taco Bell through DoorDash after he somehow broke my stove by cooking an entire 15-pound bag of red lentils all at once. Then he didn't bother to get a bowl for his lentils. He just ate them straight from the pot and stuffed the pot into the fridge and broke one of the shelves inside it. Now realizing his mistake, he decided to order nothing but terrible tacos for the remaining 2 weeks while getting high on medical marijuana. Also, for some reason he bought a bunch of honeycombs from one of our friend's fathers and decided those made a good snack and has eaten nothing but beeswax and honey for the last few days because he's some kind of weird alien in a human disguise. Apparently honeycombs give you gas. And lentils give you gas. And Taco Bell gives you gas.
So now it's today, and I'm awoken by what sounds like someone revving a motorcycle in my bedroom, followed by the stench of the fiery pits of hell itself. It's 5:30 in the morning. He gets up and goes to use the toilet as I'm opening the windows in a poor attempt to ventilate the house, but it's too late. He doesn't even have a solid poop, it's just 10 minutes of gas. Like 20 seconds of non-stop farts, followed by a huge gasp of air, and then another 20 seconds of gas. By this time, the dog is hidden under my couch, because it doesn't know what those loud honking noises are and fears for its safety. I consider joining it, but continue to open every window in my house. It's 62 degrees out and windy. The wind just blows the fart smell around the house. My husband has left the bathroom and has walked upstairs. It sounds like there's a small 2-stroke engine in his pants. I can't take it anymore and scream that I'm going to get breakfast at the diner and leave him. I bring the dog with me because the dog follows me out of the house because it also doesn't want to be here right now. So now I'm at the diner waiting for my husband to degas himself, while the dog sits underneath the table next to me wearing a pink leash kid harness that my friends bought for me as a gag gift that has my name and emotional support human on it that the waitress thought was some kind of in-joke. This is the start of my morning. I hope it's not as stinky as yours.
My girlfriend confessed to cheating on me, so I lied and told her I cheated on her. My 25M girlfriend, 26, confessed to cheating on me last night, so I told her I've been cheating the whole time we've been together. I had my suspicions that she's been cheating as she's been staying out late and just acting strange in general. Well, when she made her big announcement, I replied by saying I've been cheating on her for the entirety of our relationship, which isn't true. I told her I've been sleeping with one other woman consistently, and this drove her absolutely insane, like I genuinely thought she was going to do someone rash, like slash my tires or something. But no, she just screamed at me and demanded to know who she was. She went on to say she only cheated once and she was completely inebriated when it happened, as if that someone absolves her of any wrongdoing. The audacity. Well, anyways, I broke up with her and threw her out of my house. I then proceeded to invite the boys over for some barbecue. All in all, it was a hilarious experience. I know it's not a crazy story, but I thought it was funny enough to share.
I slept with my therapist. I never thought I'd be in this position, but here I am. I'm consumed with guilt and honestly a little confusion. I've been seeing my therapist for about a year, and he specializes in eating disorders, which is something I've struggled with for a long time. Over time, our sessions became more personal and emotional. It started with longer eye contact and his comforting touch on my shoulder. After one particularly intense session, he hugged me for a little too long. The line began to blur, and I started to develop feelings for him. One evening, after a deeply personal conversation about my progress and how I wish I had someone to celebrate with, he invited me to grab some drinks. I thought it was just him being kind and supportive, but in the back of my head I honestly hoped he'd confirm having similar feelings that I'd been having. We sat closer than usual. At one point he even reached out to hold my hand. I could feel the tension between us. He complimented my progress and told me how proud he was of me. That's honestly what sent me even further into this intense feeling of lust. His words were soothing, and before I knew it, we were kissing. It felt surreal, like a dream. One thing led to another, and we ended up going back to his place and sleeping together. I know it was a huge ethical breach, and now I'm struggling with my emotions. I'm terrified of the consequences and that I now need to look for a different therapist. I'm never good at starting over. What I'm going to do, I just needed to tell someone.
A quick story about my dating policy for my daughter. When my daughter was 5 years old, and just starting kindergarten, I would occasionally tell my daughter, just remember, no dating and no boyfriends until you turn 30 years old. Wishful thinking, I know. I told her this her first day of kindergarten, and she replied, okay daddy. Then I would tell her the same thing every once in a while. Not too often to be annoying, but often enough that she knew my rule. Then one day, later in the school year, it may even have been when she was in first grade, as I was getting ready to drop her off at school, once again I said to her, remember now, no dating and no boyfriends until you turn 30 years old. This time she had a totally different reply. She turned to me, and looked right at me with those eyes that she could use to get whatever she wanted from her dad, and said, well, if I get good grades all through school and college, can I start dating when I am 29? It took all the willpower I had to not smile and start laughing when she asked that. With a very serious look on my face, I showed her that I was taking a moment to consider what she had just asked. Then I replied to her, well okay, you've got a deal. If you get good grades all through school and college, I will let you start dating at 29. She replied, okay daddy, got out of the car, and bounced her way on into school for the day, for those who are going to ask. Yes, she waited till she was 29 to start dating, because she always followed daddy's rules. Just kidding, she had her first boyfriend at around 13 years old, breaking her daddy's heart.
My boyfriend turned me bi. It should probably be, my boyfriend made me realize I was bi. I, 24F, thought I was a lesbian until I met my boyfriend, 20M. My whole life until last year, I've only dated women, and I get grossed out thinking of myself with a guy. My boyfriend and I met at an event we both volunteered for, and we became friends. We got closer, and I started thinking about him more and more. When I realized that I developed feelings for him, it terrified me. My whole life, I thought I was a lesbian, and then I developed feelings for a guy. Everything I knew was wrong. I tried distancing myself from him in hopes the feelings would go away, but they didn't. I kept thinking about him, and I eventually gave in and asked him out. Once I convinced him that I wasn't joking, he accepted, and we started dating. Dating him wasn't that different than dating a girl. The sex was so weird, but he was so accommodating. The first couple of times, he made sure I was comfortable, and he was so careful and gentle. The thought of me with any other guy still grosses me out, but being with my boyfriend makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I have no idea why he's the only guy I like, but the year we've been together has been probably the best year of my life. He gets me, and he gives the best hugs. We live together, and he's an amazing roommate and an amazing boyfriend.
I shit my pants during job interview last week. It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what happened. Just before the interview, I felt an urgent need to use the bathroom but hoped I could hold it for the 10 minutes before the interview. I was mistaken. I had a severe stomach issue and ended up having a bowel movement right before the interview. I cleaned myself up quickly and joined the call, but I was still dealing with the aftermath. During the interview with the COO, I could hear my stomach making loud noises, and I was sweating from the discomfort. I hoped it would end quickly, but the COO kept asking questions. Eventually, I couldn't hold it any longer and soiled myself during the interview, despite the unfortunate situation. The COO said I was a great fit for the position and offered me a job with a 3 times higher salary than my previous one, along with excellent benefits. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry at that point. I ended the call, had to replace my chair, and will likely share this story with my grandchildren in the future. It was a terrible experience but ended with an incredible outcome.
Thank you all for watching. If you are interested, subscribe and watch other videos.